I used to believe darkness was just the absence of light, nothing more. A neutral thing, a space where nothing happened unless someone stepped into it. That belief made night work easier. It made the long hours behind the wheel feel less heavy, less watched. I worked nights because people disappeared after midnight. Fewer cars, fewer conversations, fewer eyes. The city felt hollow, like an empty shell. I liked that. I told myself the quiet was peaceful, but really, it was controllable. Silence doesn't argue back. My delivery route changed every few weeks, but Briar Lane stayed on it longer than it should have. A narrow residential street tucked between two larger roads, forgotten by the city except for its flickering streetlights. The kind that buzzed before they died, like insects warning you before they went silent. The houses there were old, not abandoned, just tired. Paint peeling in soft curls. Porches sagging under their own weight. Curtains always drawn, even during the day. At night, the street felt sealed off from the rest of the world, like it existed on a different schedule. The first night I noticed the light, I was already exhausted. It was just after 1 in the morning. My headlights washed over the same houses I passed every shift, revealing nothing new. The porch light at number 17 was off when I parked. I remember that clearly because I checked. I always checked. Light meant someone awake. Light meant witnesses. I opened my car door. The porch light snapped on. No delay. No gradual glow. It was instant, harsh, almost angry. Bright enough to make me squint. I stood there longer than I should have. Keys still in my hand, listening. Nothing moved. No footsteps. No door opening. Just the hum of electricity and the low buzz of the streetlight behind me. I told myself it was a motion sensor. A cheap one. Maybe wired wrong. That explanation followed me up the steps. Mrs. Holloway answered the door before I knocked. She looked too alert. Her eyes were wide, sharp, reflective in the porch light like glass beads. Her hair was thin and pulled back tightly, exposing a scalp that looked almost translucent. She didn't smile. She didn't frown either. Her face stayed perfectly still. "You're late," she said. I glanced at my phone. The delivery window still had 5 minutes left. "Sorry," I said anyway. She took the package without touching my hand. Her fingers hovered just short of my skin, like she didn't want contact. As the door closed, I felt something shift behind me. I turned, expecting to see a neighbor, a curtain moving, anything. The street was empty. I didn't think about it again until the third night. By then, it wasn't just one house. Lights turned on as I slowed down. Porch lights, living room windows, upstairs bedrooms. Always just before I stopped. Always on houses that had been dark for weeks. Never while I was driving fast. Only when I lingered. I started testing it without meaning to. Easing off the gas. Tapping the brakes. Watching reflections in windows. Light after light after light. It felt coordinated. One night, I parked a block away from a delivery and walked. The street stayed dark. Every house silent. Then my foot hit the sidewalk. Click. A porch light flared to life halfway down the street. I laughed out loud. The sound felt wrong. Too loud. It didn't echo like it should have. I delivered the package and left fast. Sleep became difficult. When I closed my eyes, I saw lights turning on in sequence. Felt watched in a way that wasn't emotional, but physical. Like pressure. Like weight. The whispering began softly. At first, it sounded like the wind squeezing through narrow gaps. Then like tires on wet pavement. Sounds I could explain away. Sounds that made sense. Until they didn't. I heard breathing behind me while standing alone on a porch. Heard footsteps match mine when I crossed the street. Heard movement inside houses that should have been empty. I told no one. Night workers don't talk about fear. Fear gets you taken off routes. Fear costs hours. The first time it said my name, I thought it came from my radio. Static burst through the speakers, sharp and sudden, then silence. Then a voice, low and close. "Ethan." I slammed the brakes. The road was empty. My hands shook so badly I had to pull over. I sat there, heart hammering, listening to my own breath fill the car. The radio stayed off. No static. No voice. I drove home with every light on. Briar Lane appeared on my route again 2 nights later. I considered skipping it. I didn't. I don't know why. Routine has gravity. It pulls you back even when you know better. Number 17's porch light turned on before I stopped. Mrs. Holloway opened the door immediately. "It knows you now," she said. The words hit harder than they should have. "Knows me how?" I asked, trying to sound amused. She leaned closer. Her eyes flicked past me, toward the dark street. "You walk through it every night," she whispered. "You let it look at you." I laughed. The sound cracked halfway through. "What are you talking about?" "Darkness isn't empty," she said. "It remembers." I backed away before she finished speaking. I didn't wait for the door to close. I stopped delivering to Briar Lane after that. Or I tried to. My GPS rerouted me through streets I'd never seen. Roads that didn't appear on maps. Neighborhoods without signs. Houses packed too tightly together, like they were leaning in to listen. The whisper followed. Sometimes it came from behind my eyes. Sometimes from the back seat. Once, from inside my chest, vibrating through my ribs. Always my name. I stopped sleeping entirely. Night felt crowded now. Not full of people, but full of presence. Full of attention. Then my car died. No warning. No sputter. Just silence. The headlights stayed on, cutting shallow tunnels through the dark. I stepped out. There were no streetlights. No houses. No sky I could recognize. Just road beneath my feet and darkness piled high on either side. Then the lights appeared. Not electric. Not reflections. Small, pale glows rising slowly from the black. Dozens. Then hundreds. Fixed on me. The whisper surrounded me. "You see us now." I ran out. I didn't believe stories like mine used to spread quietly. I thought fear needed spectacle. Screaming headlines. Police tape. Broken doors. I was wrong. Real fear survives by being subtle. By hiding inside routines. By repeating itself until it feels normal. Lena Morris learned that lesson slowly. She lived in a second-floor apartment above a closed bookstore on the edge of town. The building was old enough that it creaked when the temperature changed. Pipes knocked inside the walls like someone tapping to be let out. The kind of place where strange sounds had reasonable explanations. At least, that's what she told herself. Lena worked late shifts at a diner near the highway. She came home after midnight most nights, exhausted, shoes still on when she collapsed onto her bed. Sleep used to come easily. Darkness felt like relief. Until the breathing started. The first night, she thought it was her own. She woke up just after 2 in the morning, heart racing for no reason she could name. The room was dark except for the dim glow of her alarm clock. 2:17 a.m. She lay still, listening. That was when she noticed it. Slow, steady, controlled, breathing, not panicked, not asleep, standing. It was coming from just outside her bedroom door. Lena held her breath. The sound continued. In, out, in, out. Someone was there. She reached for her phone, screen lighting up her room in a sudden burst. The breathing stopped instantly. Silence rushed in, thick and absolute. She sat up, staring at the door. Nothing happened. Eventually, she convinced herself it had been the building. The pipes. Her imagination filling in gaps left by exhaustion. It happened again the next night. 2:17 a.m. Same sound. Same rhythm. Closer than before. This time, she didn't move. She lay frozen, listening as the breathing continued for minutes. Long enough for her arms to go numb. Long enough for fear to settle deep, heavy, and cold. When it stopped, it didn't fade away. It ended abruptly, like whoever was there had simply decided to leave. She didn't open the door until morning. The hallway was empty. No footprints. No marks. No signs of forced entry. She checked the locks twice the third night. She called her downstairs neighbor, Tomas Bell. He was a quiet man in his 30s who worked construction during the day and drank on his porch at night. He answered after a few rings, voice thick with sleep. "Sorry," Lena whispered. Do you ever hear anyone in the hallway?" He paused. "Not usually," he said. "Why?" "Nothing," she replied too quickly. "Just noise." He hesitated. "Lena, if someone's bothering you." "It's fine," she said and hung up. That night, the breathing came earlier. 2:12 a.m. Closer. Louder. She could hear the slight catch in the inhale. The way the breath brushed the wood of her door. She slid out of bed silently and crept toward the dresser where she kept a small flashlight. Every step felt like it echoed, even though the room stayed quiet. The breathing stopped when she touched the light. She didn't turn it on. She stood there for a long time, listening to nothing. In the morning, she ordered a security camera, the cheap kind, motion activated. She mounted it in the corner of her bedroom, angled toward the door. She told herself it was just for peace of mind. The camera activated at exactly 2:17 a.m. The notification woke her instantly. She didn't open the app. She stared at the glowing screen in her hand, afraid of what she would see. afraid that seeing it would make it real in a way she couldn't undo. Eventually, she tapped the alert. Grainy black and white footage filled the screen. The hallway outside her bedroom door was visible through the narrow gap beneath it. A shadow stood there, tall, still, perfectly centered. It didn't move. The timestamp continued running. 5 minutes. 10. 30. The figure never shifted its weight. Never breathed visibly. Never leaned closer. It just stood there, watching. The footage ended at 3:03 a.m. There was no clip showing it leaving. The next night, Lena didn't sleep at all. She sat on her bed, lights on, camera recording. 2:17 a.m. came and went. Nothing happened. Relief washed over her, so suddenly she laughed out loud. Then the lights flickered. The breathing began. Inside the room, directly behind her, Daniel Reyes never planned to drive at night. It wasn't fear that stopped him before, it was habit. Daylight felt predictable. Roads behaved the way they were supposed to. Signs pointed where they claimed to point. Night twisted those expectations quietly, without warning. He started driving nights after losing his day job. Rideshare apps paid better after dark. Fewer drivers. More demand. Drunk passengers. Tired ones. People who didn't want to be alone. Daniel understood that feeling. His first pickup on that road happened just after midnight. The app glitched when it came through. The pickup location pulsed on his screen for a few seconds, then stabilized. An unmarked stretch of road just outside town. No address. No nearby businesses. He almost declined. Curiosity won. The road narrowed as he drove, streetlights disappearing one by one until only his headlights remained. Trees leaned in close on both sides, branches forming a loose tunnel overhead. The air felt heavier here, like the car was pushing through something thick. He slowed. Someone stood ahead. A woman at the edge of the road, facing away from him. No reflective clothing. No phone light. Just a pale figure in the beam of his headlights. He pulled over. She opened the back door without looking at him. "Thank you," she said softly. Her voice was calm. Steady. Too calm for someone stranded on a road like this. "Where to?" Daniel asked. She gave an address on the other side of town. As he pulled away, he glanced in the rearview mirror. She was staring straight ahead. She didn't blink. The ride was silent. Not awkward. Not tense. Just empty. Like conversation had been removed from the air entirely. Halfway through, she spoke. "People slow down here," she said. "Sorry," Daniel replied. "On this road," she continued. "They slowed down too late." Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Accidents happen," he said carefully. She nodded once. "They always do." He dropped her off at a normal-looking house. Lights on. Porch clean. Nothing strange. She exited the car. "You've been here before," she said, still not looking at him. Before he could ask what she meant, she shut the door and walked inside. The app marked the ride complete. Daniel drove home with his windows down, trying to clear the feeling that something had followed him. The next night, he got the same pickup. Same road. Same location. He stared at the screen longer this time. Against his better judgment, he accepted. She was waiting in the same spot. Same clothes. Same posture. She got in the car without a word. The address was the same. "Do you live out there?" Daniel asked, forcing casualness. She didn't answer. The road felt longer this time. Curves stretched farther than they should have. Landmarks repeated. A fallen sign he was sure he'd passed already appeared again. "How many?" she asked suddenly. "How many what?" "Cars," she said. "How many did you see?" Daniel swallowed. "I don't know." She tilted her head slightly. "They didn't see me either." He dropped her off again. Same house. Same lights. The third time, he tried to refuse. The app froze. The acceptance screen wouldn't close until he tapped it. This time, the road changed. Skid marks appeared where none had been before. Broken glass glittered in the headlights. Dents in the guardrail. Scorch marks in the grass. The woman spoke softly as he drove. "They never remember the sound," she said. Metal folding. Glass breathing. Daniel's hands shook. "Who are you?" he asked. She met his eyes in the mirror for the first time. "Someone who didn't get picked up," she said. The car stalled halfway down the road. The headlights flickered. Daniel tried the ignition again and again. The woman opened her door. "You should stay," she said gently. "The road likes company." Outside, the darkness felt alive. Stretched, crowded. Shapes moved beyond the trees. Lights glowed low to the ground. Daniel stayed in the car until the engine roared back to life on its own. He drove without stopping until morning. He deleted the app that day, But sometimes, late at night, his phone lights up with a notification. Pickup requested. Same road. Waiting.